And for my 8th attack of the turn, we'll hit with the second part of Cascading Reaction, gain double experience because of the double time loss. Discard this rolling +2 for a base attack 5, rolling +2, and a +2. Where are you going? No, don't leave, don't leave. I'll win the level without you, but if you leave, who's gonna watch me do this cool stuff? And that's basically all I have to say on the Blinkblade. So this video is on the shorter side, but that's to be expected when you're talking about the class whose MO is go fast and make things dead. I guess we can try to go a little more in depth. I'm struggling to figure out how to approach this video because everybody here knows that Blinkblade is very strong, a very, very strong class. And it's easy to see how that happened from a design perspective, right? They wanted to make a difficult class, a difficult starting class to give to the Gloomhaven veterans. So, you know, if a Gloomhaven veteran's playing with a new player, the new player can play the Drifter and the veteran can play the Blinkblade, and you'll both have a lot of fun sifting through the complexity of your characters, because Drifter really is complicated for a new person, and Blinkblade is going to be complicated at first for a veteran, and they wanted to reward you for sifting through those layers of complexity. The problem is that the reward is way too good. You know, on this bar graph that they gave us, they forget to mention that the melee and mobility scores are actually just completely off the charts. Like, the bars should be way up here. So it doesn't matter if your support and defense and control are a little bit lower, because Blinkblade is just so good at what it does, and it abuses the most broken mechanics in the game. So let's dive on into it. Blinkblade is a medium health pool class with 10 cards on its surface, but really it's 20 cards. That's what makes Blinkblade a complicated class. You have twice as many cards to learn because every card has both fast and slow effects. And you have to go either fast or slow every single round, which you declare when you are revealing your initiative. To go fast, you have to pay one of your time tokens, and when you go slow, you can gain a time token up to a max of 2 from going slow, but then we have other tools that we can use to get up to a max of 5 time tokens total. Moving on to my scores, I don't think I'm surprising anybody here. All of these are ranked on a scale of 1 to 5. And so for initiative, Blinkblade gets a 5, but it would really be a 6 or a 10 because it's the best initiative class in the game. Movement, Blinkblade gets a 5 because it's the best movement class in the game. Bossing, Blinkblade gets a 5 because it's the best bossing class in the game. Support, we have a 1.5 because we have very little support. But who needs support when everything's dead? Stamina, we have a 2, which I think is almost a misleading score because who needs stamina when everything is dead? And damage, we have a 5 because we're possibly the best damage class in the game. There's one thing that immediately jumps out about Blinkblade's initiative, and that is that every card has 2 of them. A fast and a slow initiative, and all of your slow initiatives are exactly 30 points slower than your fast. That means that if we hypothetically, theoretically, in some ideal world could go at 99 while slow, then the latest we could go while fast would be 69. And then conversely, if we hypothetically, theoretically had a 2 while fast, then the earliest we could go while slow is 32. It's very difficult to talk about initiatives with Blinkblade because fast and slow means something for Blinkblade, but for like every other character, fast and slow have different meanings. So we'll try to say like quick or early or late or something like that. I'm gonna fail at that. Anyway, I actually think that the level 1 initiative on Blinkblade is extremely well designed because generally you fall into a pattern of when you go fast, you want to do your damage, hit things, kill them. When you go slow, you're either healing yourself up with something like Drive Recharge Bottom or Sand in the Hourglass Bottom, or you're positioning yourself to have a really effective fast turn the next turn or the next 2 turns in a row. So the design on that is actually really, really nice because our fastest card, Borrowed Time, it's very good to go fast, but we actually get punished for it a little bit. If we go at 2 and we play the movement action on it, you can do just the regular move 2 and then you're fine. But if you do the ability on the card, you're going to steal movement from all of your allies, which they will not love you for. Then the top of this card is just not very good because we have access to non-loss immobilize while slow. So if we really want to hold things in place, we can just do that without having to lose a card. And it's just not worth it to get 6 immobilizes like over the next 3 slow turns. It's just not that good. which makes this card well designed, because if you're going really, really fast, the fact that this card is most of the time just going to be a move 2 is good. Then when we look at our next fastest card, Experimental Adjustment, the fast action on it, we get to go invisible at 12 speed, which is very, very good, but it doesn't really do damage. It does 1 damage to a couple things, so you could pick off something that's really low. But for the most part, this isn't damage while fast, which is the main thing we want to accomplish while fast. Then on the bottom, we've got a 12 speed move 2, loot 1. So if you played Scoundrel in Gloomhaven and you want your party to hate you even more in Frosthaven, you can go at 12 speed and move 2, loot 1, move 2, loot 1, and have that be your entire turn. What makes it balanced is that our fastest attack action really is Power Leak here at 17. And 17 is fast, but it's not always guaranteed to go first every turn. And then we have kind of an interesting, like, all of our best attacking cards are right here in this 17 to 24 range. They're just all right next to each other. So like when you're going fast, you're not necessarily going like super, super fast when you're doing your good attacking actions, but you are, you know, a lot faster than, say, a Bone Shaper. And then a lot of our late actions we're just going to use to heal, but we don't have any super late card that gives us a lot of movement, which is kind of what we would want the most, is to be able to go really late and move a lot. So it's nice and balanced in that way, in that we're not the most broken thing ever at level 1. The design philosophy kind of flies out the window as soon as we start to level up, starting with this level 2 card of Reckless Augmentation, because we have a 10 initiative attack that is very, very good. It's attack 5, pierce 1, for the high penalty of dealing 1 damage to yourself and gaining experience. It's just really good. I don't know the exact number, but like 10 initiative is guaranteed to outspeed, like completely guaranteed to outspeed probably 90% of the monsters, maybe even 95%. It's like wind demons, flame demons, priests can go faster than you, chaos demons, but like not that many monsters even can outspeed a 10. And then on the bottom we have another a decent card, move 3, damage oneself, but then you ward yourself, and early level ward is going to block 1 to 2 damage, so most of the time this card just pays for itself and it's a move and gain experience, which is good. Then the big penalty for the class is that you have to go slow for 50% of your turns, but when your slow is 40 initiative, move 3, or attack for 3, you're basically just playing a Bone Shaper at that point. So it's not that bad. The other level 2 card is pretty decent, and it solves kind of the opposite problem that we had. While you're slow, it's hard to move a lot, but this card can remove any negative conditions that you have. And our level 1 card, Experimental Adjustment, gives us a move 4 Immobilize Self. So if you need to move a large number of hexes, but you are out of time tokens, you can go slow, move 4, Immobilize Self. Then the next turn, you could go fast with Systems Reboot, remove the Immobilize, move 4, and then maybe move 2 with your top. And so with 0 time tokens, you're able to move 10 hexes in 2 turns. Level 3 isn't super significant when it comes to initiative, which is the only negative thing anyone has ever said about double time. But at level 4, we get even more broken, of course. 15 initiative, it's not the 10 that we had before, but move and attack on our bottom enables us to play our really good attacking tops, and then we get move, attack, attack, attack as our turn, which is when we start to get insane. Things get more insane at level 5 because we get a 3 initiative teleport 5. Our 2 that we started with has the downside of making our allies worse. And then this card is even better movement because it's teleport 5. Teleport is insane because you can teleport through walls and you can teleport while you're immobilized, so you're not really having to pay a penalty for that. And it's a teleport 5 while slow, so you go slow at 33 initiative and teleport 5. You do have to damage yourself for 2, but that's fine. Then the top of this card is, of course, the most broken action in the game, but you don't really care about initiative with that because you're playing it while slow and just setting up. Level 6, we get a 4, which you're starting to see a pattern. Insanely fast, really, really good attacking card. This also pairs really well while slow if you played the precision timing loss, because you get to add +1 to all of your attacks, and if you're hitting a poison target, your turn is 34 initiative, attack for 4, attack for 4, attack for 3, which is not that bad. Then at level 6, we finally see a nice card to play while a late card to play while fast. Knife's Edge is really, really good if you are invisible. So you can go invisible and damage yourself with Experimental Adjustment, you damage yourself with Breakneck Speed, you damage yourself with Reckless Augmentation, but then now, you know, if we're invisible, we can have our initiative be 65, which is going to be slow enough most of the time, and we get to heal ourselves for 4, so heal off a lot of our self-damage, and we get to move with it. So you're playing 3 cards in a turn because Breakneck Speed is broken, you're healing off the damage that you do to yourself, and you're positioning yourself for your attacks, and you're going late while invisible, or you're just going late while slow and getting a huge heal, or you're playing a different card. You're playing something like Precision Timing as your leading initiative. You're moving in, attacking for 2, making sure you're around a whole bunch of enemies, and then hitting all of them for 3. And you don't care that 65 is a late initiative while fast, because all of your other cards that you're pairing it with are so fast. And then Fastest Alive, it's a 1. So we have the initiatives 1, 2, 3, and 4, and a 99 and a 95. Movement, I'm giving Blinkblade a 5 because there is absolutely nothing missing that you could want. I also had to grab basically every single card that Blinkblade has to show its good movement cards, because we have really high base movement bottom, we have really good movement tops, and we have teleport. There's just nothing missing. We have a 1 initiative, move 8 while fast or 4 while slow, a teleport 5 at 3 initiative, which teleport 5 ties, I think, I'm not checking, but just off the top of my head, I think that this ties the other best non-loss teleport card in the game. Deathwalker's is different, but you have to position the shadows ahead of time, so like, yes, she can teleport more, but teleport 5 is just insane. Like, it is so good to be able to go bridge basically any gap between 2 tiles, because you can teleport straight through the wall. It's just dumb. It's way too much. Stab them all. We have a 4 movement on our top action, which most classes that would just be their top action if it were a top move 4. But no, this is attack, move, attack, which sounds like an entire turn, but I've only described a third of a Blinkblade turn. Experimental Adjustment. Oh no, we only get to move 4 while slow, and then the immobilized self isn't all that significant, especially when we look at our perks. Precision Timing is move, attack, and move on the bottom. We're starting to see a theme. Power Leak, this is a loss movement, and it's only move 7, but we can buff that up with double time to double the fast effect to add another +4 onto it. And now our turn is move 11 on our bottom. And then with the top, you can stab them all and double both of these move 2s to get move 11 on your bottom, move 8 on your top, and then maybe Blurry Jab for move 7 on your third card of the turn. And we've moved 20 million hexes in a single turn and gone across the entire scenario, because why not? Even without anything buffing it up at just level 1, Blurry Jab is already a move 5. That's a lot. A 20 initiative move 5 is so good. Double time gives us not only the insane doubled movements on all of our things, because almost all of our fast effects like we have on the top of double time is a move 2, so those all become move 4s. And it's top movement. We have top movement here in Twin Strike, so if we need to move a lot, we can do it. Quantum Uncertainty, it's only a move 3 go invisible, which is insanely good, or move 2 strengthen self. Both of those are just really, really good. It's so much better to have just like a little bit of movement tied to going invisible or strengthening yourself. Kinetic Transfer gives us another non-loss move top, and this one we can even do while slow. And then on the bottom we've got move 4 or move 3. Hit and Run, another move top, and then Systems Reboot, we can remove that Immobilize. Now, the one thing we didn't see on any of our cards was Jump. That's because all of them have Jump if you need to with Overdrive. So if you're playing a scenario with a lot of difficult terrain or a lot of hazardous terrain, you can just plop this on, and all of your movement abilities while fast all have Jump, and like, come on. Come on. Bossing, I'm giving Blinkblade a 5 because it's just insane. It's just the best bossing character. Maybe not at level 1. At level 1, you're above average, but maybe not the best. You know, we've got some pretty easy, really good combos. You know, say we're going into the boss, we've played Drive Recharge, so we have 4 time tokens. We can, you know, run up to the boss with Kinetic Transfer and make it suffer 1 as with our bottom while we get next to it. We can hit it for Twin Strike, attack for 2 and attack for 3. Then the next turn, maybe you play like Cascading Reaction, attack for 3, attack for 3. And so now we've hit, what, 4 times already, plus the 1 suffer from Kinetic Transfer. Then our bottom action on the next turn, we can play Sand in the Hourglass, and then we can play an additional top. Maybe we've rested, gotten Twin Strike back, where we play Blurry Jab, but we get an extra top action while fast. Then maybe if we want to go slow the next turn, we can go with Power Leak, which is an attack 4, and maybe, you know, we're right next to the boss still, so Temporal Displacement is a bottom attack 2. We do that before the attack 4, and then we muddle ourselves after. And it's like, over the course of like 2 or 3 turns, you've attacked the boss 10 times. And just done insane damage. I just checked, and if you're playing on normal difficulty, one of the first bosses you're very likely to encounter in the game has 24 health, and Blinkblade can very easily do that by itself in 3 turns. And it just gets dumber as we level up, because we get really insane abilities like Breakneck Speed here. On the start of the next 4 rounds, you play 3 cards instead of 2, and you deal a little bit of self-damage. 3 cards instead of 2 is an insane buff. Like, theoretically, it's 50% stronger, but especially with things like Power Potions, which affect all of your attacks per turn, that 50% stronger is extremely significant. And this is over 4 turns. The best item in Gloomhaven, an item that was so good that it was removed coming into Frosthaven, was the Ring of Brutality, which lets you perform an additional top action. And this is that 4 turns in a row, which is absurd. And then, you know, double time doubles all of our fast effects, which we just saw Sand in the Hourglass is pretty okay. So now we can play 3 cards in a turn because of Breakneck Speed, and then doubled time doubles the effects of our Sand in the Hourglass. So we play 3 cards. Sand in the Hourglass, we have to pay 2 additional time tokens, so that's 3 time tokens total we've had to pay in a single turn. But now we're playing 5 cards total, but we're getting 4 attacking actions in our turn, buffed up with Power Potions. And our turn is something like Stab Them All, attack, 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 Cascading Reaction, attack, attack, Twin Strike, attack, attack, and Precision Timing, which this attack gets doubled and you do it. It's not an attack for 4, it's attack for 2 twice. And so that is your turn, and then buff all of that up with Power Potions. And I don't really like to talk about the level 9 cards, because level 9 is just a victory lap. Like, you've played the character all the way to that point. Level 9 is just like a celebration where you play with the super broken card for a little bit. But like, this one is definitely in contention for best card in the game. You can perform any move abilities as attack abilities of equal value for this round, and you get to play a card and play an additional card. So this would be 6 cards you play in a single turn, if you do Sand in the Hourglass as one of your 3 base actions, and then get bonus ones. I really love to pair this with Quantum Uncertainty. You go slow with Quantum Uncertainty the turn before, and maybe you play like Drive Recharge to get a bunch of tokens. So you go slow, you strengthen yourself, and you Drive Recharge. Then this card is in your discard. Then when you play Reverse the Flow, so maybe we play it instead of Cascading Reaction because we're level 9. We don't need that stinky level 1 card. You play Reverse the Flow. You get to perform any move abilities as attack abilities, and we're strengthened because we strengthened ourselves on the previous turn. Then with Quantum Uncertainty, you get to play it immediately from the discard and perform either a move 3 or an attack for 3, and then go invisible for the rest of the action. And then now Stab Them All has 7 attacks on it, and Twin Strike has 4 attacks on it, and Precision Timing has 4 attacks on it, and we buff all of that up with Power Potions. And how is that like, come on, that's just not a thing. That should not be a thing. This card needed to say, like, impair self first, and like, you cannot play this card, this has to be the first card you play, or something. I don't know. On to support, we finally don't have a perfect score, and we're near the bottom. It's not a 1 because our support exists. Theoretically, we have theoretical support. Most of the time, it just isn't really used. Borrowed Time, we can go fast and steal movement from our allies. Or we can go at 32, which is not really very fast, but add +1 to all of their moves. It also means that we're basically giving up our turn for it, because we don't have any movement ourselves if we do this. But, you know, if a Bone Shaper needs to get through a door, it can be useful. All the skeletons get to move 3 instead of 2, and then if Bone Shaper is granting movement to the skeletons on top of that, then they're granting additional move as well, which is kind of nice. It's a playable action, especially if you just need your turn to be going slow and getting up to 2 time tokens so you can go crazy later. I do like the immobilize ability on experimental adjustment. I normally would play this going really slow, going at like 99. I like this sometimes on turn 1 of a scenario. You can go, you get this, if you have this head start perk, you get a free move 3. You can go at 99 and just move 2 with your bottom, and then just immobilize everything in range 2, and that sets everybody up for a really nice turn 2, where the monsters just aren't really doing anything because they're immobilized and muddled. Cascading reaction, we have a similar effect on the bottom where things get to add +1 move if they are next to you and move away from you. But I swear I've never had this actually proc. Most of the time Blinkblade's like going off on its own for like a solo mission, so this just doesn't really happen. I've like tried to route it in a place where I needed extra movement in the speedrun, and it just didn't work. It just, I don't know. So theoretically, this ability exists. Rush to the End. I don't take this card ever, but you could grant an ally a move 4 or a move 6 while slow, which is good. Kinetic Transfer. This is probably the supportive ability that I play the most on Blinkblade. And that's just because push can be really good. You can push, and push 3 is an insane amount of push, by the way. So you can push an enemy away from an ally so that they don't target your ally. You can push a target to a specific spot so that they do target the tank of your party, or just far enough away that they can't do anything. And then the bottom of this card, you can push while either fast or slow. And I really like this to set up AoEs for my other party members. So like if a Geminate wants to do Firefly Swarm and attack in a triangle, or if a Deathwalker wants to do Dark Fog or Lingering Rot, you can use Kinetic Transfer to position the enemies to make your allies' AoEs better. At push 3 is just an insane amount of push. Flashing Flurries, we've got Stun on the bottom. It's a loss, but like loss stunning multiple targets is not bad, and we don't care that there's no movement on it because we have so many movement tops. Hit and Run, this is a good level 1 immobilize. You know, if you need to keep an ally safe, you can go at 2 initiative, move next to an enemy, hit him for 3, immobilize, and move away. It's subpar on our damage for a fast turn for a Blinkblade, but the safety, it adds us fast saving potential that we might not have in other places. Make It Count, we have a heal that we could technically use on our allies, but if you took this card at level 3 instead of double time, then you've hurt the party significantly more than you're helping them with their heal 1 or heal 3s. And then Sand in the Hourglass, we have a bottom heal that we can heal our allies. So this works really well in between rooms. You know, everybody groups up by the door or groups up around the loot, and you heal everybody with a nice little heal 2. Not an amazing heal, but it's a nice little heal 2. And I have had like an emergency situation where a character's 1 health and wounded, and so I used my Blinkblade to use a top movement with Twin Strike, or like Kinetic Transfer or something, move next to the ally, heal them with Sand in the Hourglass so that they don't die to the wound at the beginning of their turn. Stamina is a very weird category for Blinkblade. I'm giving a 2, which is maybe unfair because Blinkblade completely warps all of the stamina mechanics by finishing every scenario in 4 turns. But I think of the category as how likely I am to exhaust when I'm playing the character, and I do exhaust on Blinkblade against my will sometimes. So it's strange because early levels we're a 10 card class and we don't have any required losses. Like Drifter and Deathwalker, both of them have to set up 1 or 2 losses on turn 1, you know, to generate shadows or just to get their ticks going. And then for their most effective turns, like Drifter's Vile Assault, where you attack for poison, attack for wound, your most effective turns are losses on those characters. It's not really the case for Blinkblade. Like our level 1 losses, like Power Leak, it's just a move 7. So like this is supplemental. Like if you want the move 7 to escape or to accomplish the mission objective in some way, you can do it, but you're never like just playing this because you need damage, right? You know, similar with Cascading Reaction, attack 3 wound is good. It's a good card, but if we compare it to Twin Strike, it's 1 more damage and 2 wounds and 1 more point of movement. It's just not an insane It's not insanely more valuable than our just regular cards. Same thing with hit and run. Probably the best loss that we have is drive recharge, but given the way this works, you can go up to 4 time tokens, so you're probably playing it in between rooms, and you're probably playing it when you only have about 4 or 5 turns left in the scenario, so that you can just go fast every turn. And this doesn't really feel like very much of a stamina hit, especially because you can play it late into a scenario. So level 1 Blinkblade can go for a really long time. Then as we level up, things change. Reckless Augmentation in level 2, it's going to deal 1 damage to ourselves. Then Double Time will double our fast effects, which means we're doubling the damage that we do to ourselves. So now that's 2 damage every time you play it, which is going to start to add up a lot faster. And then at level 5, Breakneck Speed, you have to suffer 2 damage at the start of your turn, 4 turns in a row, except for long resting, which 8 damage, all of a sudden, we're 14 health at level 5 and dealing 8 damage to yourself, and then maybe 2 with the Reckless Augmentation, and that is a very significant amount of your health pool that is just gone. And we have some self-healing with something like Knife's Edge or Sand in the Hourglass, but Knife's Edge top does even more damage to ourselves. And don't play this while you have double time up, because you don't get to do 2 attacks, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure it's just 1 attack, 3 targeting all adjacents, but then you suffer 2 for each enemy that you targeted, which is a lot of self-damage. And then, so not only does Breakneck Speed hurt your health stamina, but it also affects your card stamina, because it's a loss that you're very incentivized to play, and you really want to play it with double time, so that's kind of 2 losses that you're playing. But then now you're playing 3 cards per turn, and you cannot only play 2 cards. So if you only have 2 cards in your hand, you have to rest now, or you can just move Breakneck Speed to the loss pile early if you only want to play 2 cards. But that's a lot of stamina that you're taking as a hit. You can be very, very, very effective in these turns, and that's why you kind of warp the stamina mechanic, because you just kill the scenario so fast. If the average scenario is going to take the average party like 20 turns to win, and you have a Blinkblade who halfway through throws down Breakneck Speed and double time, all of a sudden the scenario is probably going to be over in like 14 turns. So it doesn't matter that Blinkblade is not going to last the 20 turns that it would normally take, because the scenario is won, but it really affects everybody else, because like now they have to play all of their losses too. And so it makes for very, very fast scenarios, but not a lot of stamina. For damage, Blinkblade is getting a 5, and we've talked about so much of it already. There's not really all that much to say. We attack, and then we attack again, and then we attack again, and then let's attack again just for good measure. And, you know, if that didn't work, then next turn we'll attack 4 more times and make sure that whatever we attacked is dead. Monsters have 2 counterplay measures for dealing with tons and tons of attack. The first one is shield, so attack 2 into a 2 shield target generally isn't going to do very much, but we do have twin strike, which is move 3, which is a very good amount of movement to have on this, and then add pierce 2 to all of your attacks for the rest of the round. So you don't care about that shield on the target. Double time buffs this up to be pierce 4 to all of your attacks for the round. If that wasn't enough for you, at level 7 you can take Phasing Blades and add Pierce 3 to all of your attacks for the entire scenario. If every single monster has a bunch of shield, if there's just a little bit of shield to deal with, there's Reckless Augmentation. And then the other counterplay measure is Retaliate, which Blinkblade isn't nearly as good at dealing with Retaliate as it is to shield, but we do have this Overdrive, which this can be really effective, especially into some bosses that retaliate. Muddle anything in range 2, and then all of your attacks targeting muddled enemies ignore Retaliate. So Flaming Blade Spinners, this can be an effective card for that, just to be able to get down those enemies that are otherwise going to be difficult for you to deal with. And finally, we'll move on to perks, which are the make or break for a lot of classes. Emphasis on break in Blinkblade. You know, your cards determine how much you're attacking for, but the modifiers are what have the final say in how much damage you deal. Now, we've seen throughout the class that Blinkblade does the most attacks of anybody. By far, by a lot. We do a ton of attacks every single turn, which means that we get the most pulls from our attack modifier deck, which means that maybe on average ours should be a little bit weaker than average. And so I think that that's what they were going for when they added these -1 gain a time token. this one. Time tokens are very, very good. Our fast effects are a lot better than our slow effects on average, and so paying a -1 to get an additional time token is very, very, very worth it. But I think because they added these -1s, they felt free to go crazy with the rest of everything else, because why do we need 5 rolling +2s? What? We're the class that does the most attacks in the game, and we get to remove 0s and add rolling +2s. Not only that, it's a little bit better than adding a rolling +2 because it's discard this card, or on your next attack, discard this card to add +2, which means that if you pull this as your last attack for the round, then when you're going into the next turn, you get to go in planning that your Reckless Augmentation is not going to be an attack for 5 or 7 if you have double time up. It's going to be an attack for 7 or 9 if you have double time up before the modifier. And then because you have so many rolling +2s, you're decently likely to draw rolling +2 on top of your attack for 9, especially if you're strengthened or something. So we do tons of attacks, and then we have tons of rolling +2s, and we get to just remove our -2, and we don't even replace it with a 0, so we're not thickening up the deck, so we get to draw those rolling +2s more frequently. We replace -1s with +1s, that's fine. We replace -1s with wounds. Sure, I'll take it. Replace 0s with +1 immobilizes. These you'll take a lot later, but like, it's not bad. You're taking out 0s, making it more likely that you that you draw your rolling +2s. And then, you know, later on we can take out some of our +1s to get even more +2s in the deck. So we'll have 3 regular +2s and 4 rolling +2s. So 7 +2s in the deck. What is going on? And why? Blinkblade literally will perform 3 times as many attacks as Geminate in a scenario. Maybe even more than 3 times more. And Geminate gets rolling +1 regenerate self, and Blinkblade gets rolling +2 regenerate self. Now, this regenerate self is most of the time not very significant because we do damage to ourselves. So, especially breakneck speed, you suffer 2 damage when you play the cards, so like in between the rounds, so you never even get to get the heal 1 regenerate, but it's fine. And then we also have just insane worded perks. This head start I actually thought was really bad. My wife played Blinkblade before I did. She took this as like her first perk because she thought it was going to be so good, and I was like trying to explain to her, like, it's not that good. Like, it's just a one-time thing. You want your perks to make your deck better, to make you better for the entire scenario. And then I tried this out in the speedrun, and it is insane how much value you get out of this free move 3. It opens up so many strategies and accelerates the pace of scenarios by so much, to have really easy like move 5 while slow on turn 1. This perk is insanely good. Perpetual Motion is a perk that I don't really take on Blinkblade, but like, you can ignore Immobilize, which is pretty good. We can already ignore Immobilize with our teleports, but we really only have teleport at level 5 and the level 9 card that you shouldn't take, so it's good. It's not bad to ignore Immobilize. And then Entry Transfer, you don't need that. Don't. All of your other perks are so good. Don't take Entropy Transfer. I miscounted a second ago. It's not 7 +2s in our deck total at the end. It's 8. Why would we only have 7? 7 +2s would be gross. Everybody knows you need at least 8 +2s to be a real character. So if I were to recommend a change for Blinkblade 2.0, the first thing I would say 100% is power potions. Power potions need to be absolutely completely neutered in the version that they currently are, and Blinkblade is probably the worst offender of them. I would say that power potions should either just be reverted to their Gloomhaven version, or maybe cap it to only be the first 4 attacks you perform in a turn or something. That way it's not really hurting a class that wants to do like an AoE effect, because rarely are you going to be hitting like 5+ targets with an AoE attack. And then Blinkblade would still get like the cool effect of getting to attack the same target 4 times, but you only get buffed to damage 4 times. So it would only be the first third of your turn instead of, you know, your entire turn. I think that something like that needs to be done for power potions. And then after that, we need to address the number of rolling +2s and just +2s in general. One way to do that, you could change the gain a time token to -2 gain a time token. I think I would prefer to, first of all, remove the rolling from these +2 regenerates, and probably also just make them +1 regenerate. +1 regenerate, not rolling, I think would be much, much better. And then we still get to keep these on your next attack, discard this card to add a rolling +2, which is insanely good because you get to plan ahead of time where this +2 is going to come in. And like most of the time when you're doing an attack with your modifier deck, you don't know what's going to happen, but you know that this is going to happen. So this is really fun and insanely good. So I want to keep that, but we definitely need to nerf the damage at least somewhere. And we have already made it to the tier list part of the tier list video. Blinkblade shaved 20 minutes off of Geminate's time, which I think is about to be expected. Blinkblade is all about going fast and killing things, so we don't need to talk too much about it. I think everybody knows Blinkblade is going to be absolutely high tier. Likes to hide behind that high complexity rating, make you think it's going to be a really complicated class. Really, it just has twice as many cards for you to learn, but then once you figure out the pattern is get to 2 time tokens, go in and kill things with those time tokens, back off for a split second, maybe drive recharge to get back up to 4 time tokens, and then go in and kill everything else. It's not all that complicated, I don't think. There's just a lot of text on the cards, and a lot of cards played per turn. I don't think anybody would be surprised for Blinkblade to be S+, the 1 S+, the best class in the game. But it is not. I do actually think that there is at least one class in the game that is stronger than Blinkblade. So for now, we're just going to go in S tier, all alone in S tier. At least right now, Blinkblade is ranked as the best class in the game, and we will just have to see who goes above it.